Feedback. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback, feedback, feedback.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard, you liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
All the way live right here at WHPR. Sun is shining outside, even though the snow is piled up to your earlobes. Nevertheless, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. My name is Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, for anyone who may not know, and my co-host,
Thabiti, and we welcome you to the program.
We thank you so much for tuning in, and we thank all of those of you who helped to sponsor this program. And for those of you who are considering it, please make your check or money order out to Hood Research, or if you prefer, you can make it out to WHPR Broadcasting. We don't have any objection to that, but we do ask that you mail it to Hood Research, P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan 48204, so that we can make sure it gets credited for this broadcast. Again, that's Hood Research, P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan 48204. We have a website and Facebook and Twitter and all of the bells and whistles, so in your leisure, log on to hoodresearch.org. That's hoodresearch.org. And with us this morning, we have as our guest, see, people come out, snow or no snow, like the postman. That's I say, no matter rain, sleet, snow, and all that, the mail must go through. And we at Hood Research definitely want to share as much information with you as we can. Now, it's Patrice Lee. Please tell us, who is Patrice Lee?
Good morning, Ms. Theo. I am Patrice Lee with Leap for Joy Books and Resources, and we concentrate on children and families, and our desire and our mission is to help children, adults, and teens live life happy. We distribute books and resources throughout the city. Our books are in schools, they're in organizations, they're in various cities and states, countries, even Europe and in Canada. We are very fortunate that our children even have them in the classroom now. In some of the Detroit public schools, they're in some of the high schools, they're using them in the classrooms. And we are very, very blessed to know that counselors, clinical therapists, social workers, psychologists use our books in some of their private sessions. So we're just delighted to know that.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
What made you decide to be an author?
Well, it was something that kind of just happened. I was inspired to write. I I'd get these thoughts in the morning about 3:30 in the morning, and I wanted to go back to sleep. And
Whoa.
I said, well, I'll get up, turn on the light, write this down, and after I write it down, I'll go back to bed so I can go to sleep. And I never got back to bed. The writing, the thoughts kept coming, the verses kept coming, and initially it was all poetry. And I still haven't published those three of those books, but I did publish the first book, Positive Change. It's all about attitude. That came from the first writings. And it was just a burst. But I will tell you, it came as a result of me walking in forgiveness. I was going through a lot, and I was being bullied and harassed, and it went on for years. And as I began to forgive, and as I began to let go, the writing increased. And I mean, the books just kept coming once I started. I never planned to write one book, but now we have about 16 books.
Wow.
3 are in Spanish, and I just have maybe 7 or 8 here today. There are too many to put on the table.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
You know, that's interesting. I'll tell you about a book in Spanish. But anyway, you were being bullied as an adult, child, teenager? What?
I had some bullying, believe it or not, as a child with an aunt. I wasn't one of her favorites. And I don't know if you can imagine a jealous aunt, but she was really jealous at the time. My mother and I were very close, and she wanted that, even as an adult, she wanted that time and was jealous of that time. And just, so she even physically attacked me a few times. But I got through that. But, you know, when you have, I guess, being the child of a minister, my mom and dad loved the Lord, and so my dad was a minister. He preached the word, and he lived it at home. And so as a result, you can sometimes carry on a meek spirit, or have what people feel is like a meek, timid spirit or whatever. So when they take that as a weakness, you're one of the targets, you know, so.
This was an adult.
But as an adult, it wasn't a workplace. Oh, you know, yes, this was an adult aunt. Yes, she was kind of childlike in nature. So, you know.
You know, what I find interesting, too, is that you said that as you started to write, it was sort of like a catharsis, and that you were able to kind of balance out the negative vibes and influences, and it was like an outlet for you?
You know, it seemed to have allowed some healing to take place. You know, healing with bullying, with harassment, it does take a little while, because if you're not able to talk about it or share, or if someone doesn't want to listen, because sometimes you just need to keep talking every day, then it can harbor in. So it is an outlet. It is a way to release. But I just didn't know, it just never stopped coming.
Now, did you tell your parents your father was a minister?
My father was a minister, and actually this aunt was living with us. So she was one that, you know, a person that kind of just needed care. You know, the family kind of spoiled her as a child, and so she never really did just go out there and be on her own, and, you know, so she married very, very late in life, but she was with us for 10 years. So, you know, I learned to brush over, and, you know, as a child, I think I learned to ignore and things, because my father didn't want to put her out. That was my mother's sister. But anyway, I survived that, and then I dealt with it in the workplace. And so I'm a survivor, if you will, and I want parents, I want children, I want adults to know that bullying is not so tough that you can't get through it. But you do have to talk about it. You do have to forgive, and when you forgive, healing comes with forgiving. That healing comes from within. It's an inner healing that comes. So that's all of that is important.
Well, just out of curiosity, and then we'll get to the literature. Do you have any other siblings?
I do. I have one sibling left. I've lost some siblings, but I have one sibling left. There were 3 of us in our immediate family, and
and the source of that question was just basically because you were the target of this negative thing. I just was wondering that it wasn't equally spread about you.
You got into something, so I'll have to tell you the whole story. She loved my brothers, but she didn't care for me. So, you know, so it was very partiality. You know, she always wanted to make sure they got whatever, and you know, wanted to make sure I wasn't highlighted over my brothers, you know, being the only girl. So she made sure she kept things in order for my brothers.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's a learning lesson. I think if I had not gone through that as a child, and it wasn't every day, it was just whenever she was not happy about something.
And she took it
You
out
know,
on
it
you.
wasn't every day, and so I think that must have somehow braced me for what I was to endure as an adult, because it was many, many years as an adult.
Right.
Yeah. So.
You know, this has nothing to do with you, but with the Michigan State University, the father, whose
Yes.
5-year-old had been molested, the doctor
Yes.
had befriended the father.
Oh.
So when the little girl told her father
Mm-hmm.
what was happening to her, he chose not to believe his own child.
Yes. Yes.
And then when he
yes.
found out the child was telling him the truth,
Mhm.
he committed suicide.
Oh, now that one I didn't hear. Isn't that something? Oh, I'm so sorry.
And there's over 265 young
Yes.
ladies who have gone through,
Yes.
this
Yes.
kind of treatment. And the books that you have written about
Yes.
attitude, you said?
Yes,
Some of the
some deal with attitude. We have a book, it's on the table here. It's called It's Just a Circumstance. That book has children. It shows children, displaced children in different adversity, different circumstances, situations that they have no control over. For example, the two little girls on the front cover attend one of our public schools, and in the wintertime, they had only one coat. Now, you know what it's like here today. Winter, snow on the ground, 17 degrees.
Yes.
So when one went to school, the other one had to stay home. Those two little girls, Burlington Coat Factory heard about those two little girls, and they donated coats to that family and to any other families at that school that had a need, whether it was shoes or clothes or coats. They donated to that school.
Wonderful.
Wasn't that awesome?
Wow,
That was just a
yeah.
few years ago.
Really?
And when I heard that story, this book just kind of came quickly. I just pulled over to the side of the road and
nice.
started writing. And so every child in that book has a turnaround. Their situation turns around. So we let children know that in life, you're going to have circumstances, you're going to have situations that you have no control over, but a circumstance is subject to change, and they always had a positive result. But every
Wow.
child also in that book had a positive attitude.
Uh-huh.
They paid it forward, and they were just good examples. And that's what we want to show our children, that no matter what you're going through. I went into work every day with a positive attitude. Good morning, how are you? Like nothing had ever happened the day before, because that's what we do. We have to be resilient, and that's what we want our children to be.
One of the things I enjoy just looking at the ones that I can see now is that because, and Theo and I were talking about this on the way over,
Yes.
it was, I forgot exactly what book or movie it was you were speaking about, Theo, but we were talking about
Princess and the Frog.
Right,
Yeah.
the Disney thing,
Yes.
in that our people, it's hard to find books that represent African American characters or have African American themes, although the subject matter or the topic can be universal,
Yes.
that all can embrace it. But we already know that there's a overabundance of other ethnicities
Yes.
outside of our own. So that's one of the things I'm very pleased about. Now, I noticed that you also said that you wrote for children, young adults, and adults.
Yes.
So now we'll just start with the children, work our way up.
So we have Happy to Be Me, which is the book on your right.
Yes.
To straighten ahead. It's called Happy to Be Me. That's a positive book about a little girl who wakes up happy every morning. She goes to bed happy every night. She's obedient, and she's respectful of others, and she gets along with her friends, and she forgives. So we want children to get all of these principles, these basics early, and we put that in a book like Happy to Be Me. And now we have companion coloring books. So there's also a coloring book for Happy to Be Me as well. We have another book, which I don't have on the table now. It's called Let's Love One Another, the theme love. Doesn't matter what your race, what your color. We have children of all races, all backgrounds, from all representing many countries, but we show them getting along together. We show them doing teamwork, putting puzzles together, and forgiving each other for their faults, no matter what. And they love themselves and they love others. So they're showing kindness.
And then that's of boys and girls in that
Yes,
book.
yes,
Okay.
boys and girls. And of course we show Anya, I call Anya, Happy to Me is little Anya. She's with her family. She has a brother, a mother, and a father. Show them in a real family situation. And then we have The Bully Met My Dad and Became My Friend. Now this book is about a little boy.
Wow.
This little boy in the red is very good in sports. He plays every sport well, but he loves baseball. And the little guy in the plaid shirt sees him playing, and he's very envious. And he follows him. He bullies. He sees him hit a home run. He follows him home, bullies him, and then he actually goes to his house and sees him with his dad. And the father sees him and tells him, "It's okay. You can stay." And after this loving dad talks to this little boy and talks to him, the two little guys become best friends. And
Wow, that's
so they
awesome.
get along. So I actually had an administrator of one of our major organizations in the city. He said, "That's exactly what happened to me and my father." And then he donated 200 books to the school system.
Wow.
Oh,
So I thought that was really wonderful.
yeah.
So those are our little
Very-
children's books. I have another one.
nice.
It's showing now. This book showing now is I Like Who I Am. I Love Being Me. And it's actually a book about animals. Animals can't change who they are, but they're happy, they get along. We don't see them arguing and fussing and fighting except for cats and dogs once in a while. But they're the only ones that we really notice that don't get, but they get along and they're happy. Birds sing every morning when it's springtime and summer.
Everyone
We
on the
hear our
hill.
birds singing. And so they get along in life. And that's what we want children to see that. But we really show the animals, we showcase them in a very humorous light. They're very, we make it really funny.
There was
So
a
they can
bird
laugh.
out
We
there
want them to
chirping
laugh.
this morning, and I was
Was
wondering,
he?
well, what is wrong with you? Don't you know how cold it is?
The sunshine.
goodness.
Yeah, right,
Oh,
right. He
my
was just
goodness.
chirping away.
He's thinking spring is coming because that sun was so bright.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that was his problem or her problem. But
Yeah.
this one I find really interesting. When you talk about cats and dogs, I have noticed that if they are placed together as babies, like kittens and puppies,
Yes,
they grew up together, and there is no problem.
that's exactly
There's,
right.
there's honestly, there's no problem.
They respect each
We
other.
had a cat that rode on the dog's back. He didn't care. He didn't. He would lay down. There was one. My daughter had a dog, and they have round baskets for them to sleep in.
Oh,
He would get in there, and the cat would go in there and sleep with him.
oh my
And
goodness.
sometimes the cat would sleep on his back, with his feet up in the air. And I'm told that is a sign that they feel safe if
Isn't
they
it
sleep with their
something?
bellies exposed.
That is
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
precious.
they do.
Wow.
Those are little.
What I find interesting about what Theo said as well, and you, Miss Lee, as well, is that this idea of being able to get along is similar to if children who are racially diverse grow up very young,
Yes.
let's say preschool, Head
Yes.
Start, that kind of thing, 2, 3, 4 years old, then they don't come up with the same baggage as if they were in an isolated or segregated thing. So I think that's a great metaphor for how humans
Yes.
should also be able to interact with each other and grow.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then I have books for adults.
Uh-oh, here we go.
we haven't even talked about the children, the grades 3 through 7, and the teens, but I would love to tell you about the adult books.
Okay,
And then
sure.
we can go back to the
yeah.
team. But first, for those of you who may have any questions for Miss Patrice Lee, feel free to call. The phones are working. Okay. 868-0342, 868-0351, and 868-4336. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have books for mommies and books for daddies.
Oh.
Again, I'm a mom, so I have children. But the mommy book came, and it's endorsed by Mom Winans. We want everyone to buy our books, so this mom is kind of more a mulatto looking. My illustrator is Italian, so please, we just want you to get the information in this book. Mommy, are you listening? We have tweets from babies. Make it humorous. We have poems. We have words of wisdom from 10 wonderful mothers who raise their children. Because I don't know it all. I had a wonderful mom, but she was a wonderful example. And then we just help moms organize their time. We help moms de-stress before they come home, the way I used to de-stress before I would leave work. And sometimes you can de-stress while you're at work, And so we just give a lot of pointers like that and let the moms know how wonderful it is to have children, to be able to raise, and how precious they are. Then we have,
No, wait. How do you de-stress before leaving work?
oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you this one. You know how if you're in a workplace and you're in a large office, and when the time to leave comes, or it gets maybe 5 minutes before it's time to leave, everybody's got their purse, their coat, and their hat, and they're ready to walk out the door. you sit there, and if you're fortunate to have beautiful music playing, you sit there and you just relax because you don't have to sit in the parking lot and wait to get out of the parking lot. So you just sit there and relax and close your eyes and meditate if you want, and exercise a little bit if you want it, or whatever. Just relax and take 15. You know, they say take 5. I say take 15 minutes. If you had stressful workplaces, or if you're in a stressful work environment, Mom, take 5, 10, 15 minutes. Listen to the beautiful music that's still piping in. They used to play smooth jazz, kind of like in our office, so I loved it. And I was able to relax, get rid of all the stuff for the day, from the day, and go home and do my job at home. So that's one way you can relax. Yeah.
I wish other people take note of that, because and why I say that, I mean, honestly, when they get out there, it's like there's a mad tear or something like that, as opposed to having that peacefulness. And like you say, meditation, maybe deep breathing, anything that can help you have a certain calm. And then when you pursue something else, it's easier to do that because you don't have all that energy in you or that tension in you. And so I think it's excellent. And I like the idea. I'm looking at Mommy, Are You Listening? Where she's in the kitchen cooking, and then she's got a baby on the floor crying. She's got another one tugging at her leg, and she's trying to multitask, but it's...
But do you see what she's reaching for? If you turn it over, she's reaching for something.
Okay, now, I don't know if it's the glass of water that got knocked over.
No, her cell phone is ringing.
Okay, yes.
And she's reaching for that cell phone. And we want moms to kind of get the hint that phone should not take priority over all the stuff going on in the kitchen. That phone can wait. Sometimes the phone just has to wait, you know. I know we're living in the age of technology, but sometimes you can either silence it or just, you know, not answer it. It's
not that serious.
Right, that's right. So,
okay.
Then we have a book for dads. It's called Daddy. There's a copy there. It's called Daddy, Can You Hear Me? Oh, this is such a positive book. I was very fortunate that all dads and granddaddies have endorsed this book. And it's all poetry. And what I'd like to just read the back cover. It says, in every age group, from every nation, both male and female, from all walks of life, both great and small, there's an outcry for children, from children to connect with their dads. Children need their dads. And dads, fathers need their children. They find each other. In Daddy, Can You Hear Me? It's conversational poetry that is relevant, powerful, real. And I'd like to share. May I read? Okay, I'd love to read. This is the one that the first poem that I got. It's called Dad, I Need You. Sometimes your job takes you away for a little while, but each time I see you, I greet you with a great big smile. And when you're here, somehow I feel safe, knowing I'm not alone. Dad, I'm so happy when you're at home. It's that secure feeling I get when your hand is holding mine. The fun times we have together, rain or shine. But if for some reason I don't see you today, I want you to know how much I love you. And when I pray, I'll remember you. That I'm doing things, Dad, to make you proud of me. I'm getting good grades. I won the spelling bee. Got down all by myself when I climbed that maple tree. I learned to ride my bike with the handles turned back. Trying out for sports this year, might even run track. Oh, Dad, I'm going to do all I can to be the best I can be. 'Cause all I want is for you to be proud of me.
Excellent.
And so it's like we're reaching out to dads in love. And then on some of the poems, there's a little daddy note. So here's my dad note for that poem. Dad, when you're not around, your children suffer because there's no one, I repeat, no one who can replace a father's love. Is your child crying out for you? I want daddies to think. I want them to know they're loved. And we're not bashing any dads in our book. In fact, we even have a page for the mommy to make sure, you know, she understands you're not to bash dad. And if he's a dad who wants to spend quality time with that child, let him spend quality time with his child and make a difference in that child's life. So, yeah.
That's critical
Very
in our
good.
community, in all communities, really, because sometimes one parent will try to badmouth another because they've got animosity,
Yes.
dissension between them, and the
Yes.
child is basically there in the middle. So it makes it even rougher on the child because you don't necessarily want to take sides. So I like what you said about having it where the mom understands her role
Yes.
in if she's not going to uplift the
Yes.
father, you don't diminish him either
That's right.
in terms because the child can't divide their love that way. So I think that's
That's
excellent.
right. Yes. Would you like to hear another? Maybe later.
You can do another one
I'd
now.
love to read another one. This one,
ahead.
and we kind of guide the dad through. We have it's sectioned off in like three major compartments. The dad who spends all the time with his child, takes them places. The dad who's sometimes in communication, but sometimes not. And then for the dad who's never there. So we cover all dad scenarios. But this one says, a fresh start for a number one dad. We're calling on you, fathers. Can't you hear your children's cry? They don't want to know what happened or need to know the reasons why. They're just looking for your approval and want to know that you care. And if they need to talk to you, to know that you'll be there. Promises made or promises broken may have had nothing to do with you, but it doesn't mean forsake your children, 'cause you've got a job to do. Now, about this next commitment, God is surely taking note. You may not become the dad of the month, but you've certainly got my vote. Please be patient with Mom who's standing by as she observes the things you do. Remember, each time a promise was broken, she was disappointed too. She may not have too much to say or seldom wear a smile. Because of past experience, you may have to prove that you're sincere, and that may take a while. Patience is a virtue. The daddy note, starting fresh or starting new, remember, Dad, it's up to you.
Oh, that's nice. Now, the one of the dad that's never there.
For the dad that's not, would you like to hear one of those?
Yes.
Okay. We make it real, and we make it while I'm turning to that section, I have administrators, even at DPS, who have a copy of this book, and one of them is very, very involved in his family. I mean, he's a wonderful dad, and the children are there at home, and I asked him a few months ago, I said, so how did you like the book? What did you think about the book? He said, I haven't had a chance to read it yet. My son still has it. I said,
Wow.
really?
Oh, wow.
So I find that this book is healing for dads. This book is healing for dads. I'm sorry, healing for teenagers and for children. And even if the dad is there, they still can get something out of it. Okay, so here's one. Here's one. It's called A Conversation I'd Like to Have with My Dad. I'd like to have a conversation with you, Dad. Yep, it's me. I'm the one you never knew. I was born sometime after you left our mom, and suddenly I grew and grew. Now I'm old enough to understand that I had a father too, and the other children I'd seen playing with their dads were considered a fortunate few. I feel like I've really missed out on what seems like it could have been great. I just want to know if I'm almost 21, is it too late? There's still so much I don't know. Your kind advice I really could use. I'm making so many decisions. Sometimes it overwhelms to confuse. The family says the time has flown, but I can't say it has. I'm trying to get over the fact that I didn't have you yesterday. I didn't have you today or yesterday. And I've no memories of the past. If time, as they say, has really sped by, then why can't I catch up? It's been a long time now. I've been trying to and waiting to talk to you, Dad. I just want to know what's up.
Oh, that's
So
cute.
it's sincere, but it's also, it's touching, you know, and I will tell you, I've seen a few dads shed a tear when they're standing at my table, you know, you're buying books, and I go, oh, he likes that poem. It's the one, Dad, I Need You. That poem really touches the heart. So we were fortunate with this book. Not only is it endorsed by dads and granddads, but the National PTA president, Mr. Otha Thornton, a gentleman, black gentleman, told me he had read it twice and asked if he could do a foreword. So I was really honored. We have a foreword there with his name.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so it's not a tough, punchy book, but we really do woo the dad. We help them. We talk to them, and we know that it's making a difference in some lives. We've had even some pastors who have purchased books for the men in their congregation, and we salute those pastors because they can reach the men in their church and their congregation. So I've sat on dad panels where they've had regional conferences for the PTA and you've heard of the dad PTAs. There's a dad PTA council and group,
interesting.
and they came from 5 different states, and I didn't have the book at the time. I only had 3 poems, and 2 of them were still in writing. They weren't even typed up. And I was asked to sit on that panel and read those 2 poems. And I said, well, I have a third. And when I read those poems, the dad's hands went up in the air, and they said, can I have a copy of that? I was like, oh, if you just give me a chance to copyright it, and I'll make sure you get a copy. And within 3 months, I had the book. The poems came forth after that. Yeah.
I'm a writer also,
Are you?
more lyricist and poetical as opposed to actually doing stories, which is
Yes.
something I want to venture into because I'm surrounded by coworkers and friends who do that. But one of the things I like about it, which is the point I was sort of getting towards, is that I find that writing, particularly like when you say the fathers can read this, I know sometimes when people have conversations with each other, sometimes there's a lot that's lost. But the
Yes.
beauty of a book is that you can read something over and over again,
Yes.
and it deepens its meaning. A person doesn't feel threatened
Yes.
because they're just reading, as opposed to if she and Theo and I were husband and wife, and then she's trying to tell me something,
Yes.
then there's maybe that automatic conflict that comes into it.
Yes.
But when you're able to read something, like sometimes I would leave people notes just because I said, well, if I tell them this, although it's true, it may not be welcomed by them. So for them
Yes.
to be able to read it, and so when you read those poems, that was the thought that came to mind, that a father could look at himself in the mirror of your words and say, you know what, that sounds like me, and I need to do better by my
Absolutely.
children, by my wife, or my relationships, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So I really like that.
Yes. And you know, there's some wonderful dads. Can I just tell you about one wonderful dad that I met? It was at a veterans meeting for veterans to help them get benefits. And I was asked to come because the gentleman that was doing it loved my books. And so I had the books on display, and there was one father who had a 21-year-old son. And that 21-year-old son and his friend had just gone to jail. And they weren't in jail. I think they were waiting to be arraigned, whatever, but they were away. And he said, I want my son, because he's a father and his little son was going to turn 1. He said, I want my son to have a copy. And his friend, too. So he bought 2 books, one for his son and one for his friend. And I remember, he said, do you have anything for incarcerated? I said, I have one poem, and I'm going to put it in there before I send the books to your son and his friend. And I added the poem for incarcerated. It's called Incarcerated in there, and sent the books to his son and his friend. And I was so touched that father was still, you know, that was a good dad. He was still reaching out, trying to help his son and give him something good to read. So we know there's some good things going on. We have some wonderful dads. We have some wonderful moms. And sometimes there's circumstances, you know, that they're just stressed. And
Now, the Incarcerated, is it in that book?
yes,
Father,
Incarcerated is
so-
in here.
so
Yes.
Okay, would you read that?
Absolutely, I will. Yes.
And while she's searching for that, I just want to say that one of the things I like about Daddy, Can You Hear Me, is that it has a African American man on there with a briefcase. He's got his suit jacket off, or his cover jacket off, but you see his tie, and there seems to be, in as far as I can see, like in his expression, like it's been a long day kind of expression. But I like that for that reason, because it is a positive image or of a black male.
Yes. And when you turn that book over, you'll see
Oh, wow.
when he gets back home from work, his family is doing what? They're
They're all welcoming with a lot of love.
embracing him.
And since we have a caller, just
Yes.
before you do that,
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Good morning. Happy Monday. Fly go, fly
Hey,
go.
happy
Cash
Monday.
91.
Great.
All right, go ahead.
My question is, did you say that you have the coloring books, and with the coloring books, do they have reading material where you can color and read at the same time?
Well, we are going to have your voice turned up some, but you ask about a coloring book.
Yeah, and does the coloring book have reading in it where you can read and color at the same time?
You can read and color at the same time.
We do
Right,
have,
where it has a story in it, so we can do two activities at the same time.
yes, the coloring books. I suggest now the Happy to Be Me and my Let's Love One Another have companion coloring books. And they're not just coloring books. They actually have at the back reinforcements of what the lesson was in the book so that the child is getting grammar, language art skills, and they can also be creative. So in the Happy to Be Me coloring book, at the back you can draw a picture, the child can draw pictures of their happy moments, you know, like a birthday party or one of their happiest days of their lives. And then they can write about it on the next to the picture on the side. In the Let's Love One Another, we focus on kindness. And so at the back of that book, the child can draw pictures of himself or herself showing kindness to others, or perhaps demonstrate others showing kindness to him as well. Did I answer your
Thank you.
question? Yes. And the companion coloring books are $10. Our little children's books are $14.95. I didn't mention that all of the little children's books have lessons at the back of them. So they're, review questions, true and false, fill in the blank. And even in the book that he's holding now, we have answers because it's so important that children understand and they get the lessons that we're trying to share in the book, the lessons of love, the lessons of forgiveness, the lessons of being obedient to your parents, you know.
Thank you.
You're
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, our website is www, if I didn't say before, Leap for Joy. We want children to leap for joy when they're reading our books. So LEEP, as in Peter, the number 4, JOY.com. And you can also reach me, if you would like, at patricealee@gmail.com. And that's PATRICE, capital A, capital LEE @gmail.com. Incarcerated. This is from the Daddy. Daddy, can you hear me? Now, I want to tell you that this particular youth that I have enacted, is actually incarcerated, and he's reaching out to his dad. Even though maybe he never really got to spend time with him, he's still reaching out because he feels like his life could have been different. I'm incarcerated now. Not saying it's all your fault, but if you had been around, maybe some of the things I did I would have given more thought. I've done some time here and still have more time to do. If you only knew how much I needed you. If only I could talk to you. Maybe if we had talked in my formative years when I was 2 or 3, it might have set me on a different path, one of victory. You were kind of busy then, not sure what happened or not sure what had you occupied. But if I'd known I had your approval, I would have been satisfied. It seems like the streets kept calling me. All I know is I'd like to have a better life and to be free of the chains that bind me. And when I get out, I'd appreciate any time you can give. For the path of life I chose is not how I want to live. And Dad, if you can't help me get through this, please tell me someone who can. Incarcerated.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very awesome. Now, we went from the children to the adults. Now, those in-betweeners.
So we have some in-between books that I didn't think would fit on the table, but I'd love to tell you about them. Bully Me No More. That book is written for parents and children, and that book is for grades 3 through 7. A lot of poetry is in there, poems on forgiveness, poems on love. And what we do in that book is we actually share with children how important their life is, how much they're loved, how valuable they are, because children need to know that they have self-worth. They need to know that they are valued.
Absolutely.
And we let them know that every day is a good day, but first you have to love yourself, and then you're able to love others. And we just build confidence. We help raise self-esteem and build confidence in the young people, the children. That book also has a section in the middle that's just for parents, and we call that section Caring Moms and Dads. And then at the back of the book, it's called For Bullies Only, because in case they had a friend or a sibling that's a bully or someone that became a bully, we want that person to get help as well. Yeah.
We have a
So-
caller.
I have a.
Go ahead.
Okay, wait a minute. I have a question.
Yes.
On the backing up to the adult book.
Yes.
Do you have poems in the one for mothers that instructs them? I know you mentioned about the cover of the book and the cell phone can wait.
Yes.
But what kind of messages for the mother? But before you read that or while you
Yes.
look for it, let's
Okay.
take the call.
Absolutely.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please? Hello, caller. You're on the air. Okay.
ahead.
Okay. We have quite a few poems in this book for moms, and I'm just trying to think of the best one to read you real quickly. Okay. Well, that one's kind of long, so I'll take this one. It's called Praise. And in this book, the mom book, we give moms 101 ways they can praise their children to greatness. Because we know if you're tired and stressed out, sometimes you're not thinking about praising your child for the good things that they're doing or for what they've done, even at home. But we really reinforce and really encourage moms to praise their children. And this is one poem that says, praise just can't get enough. When your children take a stand for what is right, applaud them. If your child stands alone to be right, offer praise with rewards. Praise your children for every good thing they do. Chores, homework, kindness toward others, good sportsmanship, diligence. Give them praise. Always offer praise for a job well done. It will build character and self-esteem. It will help them to become confident and responsive responsible while encouraging a sense of independence and self-worth. Praise. Yeah. The lighting is a little hard, so sometimes I might miss a word.
Our caller is
That's
back.
good.
Praise.
Okay.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please? Hello, caller. Okay. Well, for whatever reason, we're not making a connection.
That's okay. I'm sorry. I did mention this book, and this little book is one that parents and adults really just overlook. It's called Tips and Tools for a Safe and Healthy School Year. It's my most reasonable book at $7.95, and I give you about 140 safety tips.
Wow.
For bullying, tips for bully prevention. And I also give you some options and some solutions, things to do.
It's for age group. What?
And this one is actually written for parents and for
okay.
teachers. And
okay.
It's valuable. It's valuable. I give you tips, family tips. I give you home tips, toddler tips, cell phone tips, text safety tips for texting and cyberbullying, tips for moms who might be even nurturing a bully at home. Sometimes moms and dads don't even know that they're nurturing a bully at home. So we give you tips like that. Tips also to show the symptoms. What are the 10 symptoms that you might want to see, that you might see in a child who's been bullied?
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the
So
signs?
some of the signs are
And I like the fact that it seems to be very comprehensive in that you say you have about 140 different things.
Yes. It's not a boring book. It's very easy read. I don't know if you can see this, what I'm showing, but I just list on this page. It says 10 symptoms of a bullied child. So the mom and dad, this is what you might want to look for. Your child may have a sudden change in personality or disposition. That's 1. 2, your child might become withdrawn. 3, the child might lose their appetite and have a change of eating habits. Maybe your child, 4, doesn't sleep well at night anymore, or they're having bad dreams. That's another sign. I'll give you one more. If your child becomes suddenly disruptive in school and they're really a disciplined child and has good behavior, that's another sign that you need to look into. So those are just 5 or 6 tips. I have a total of 10. And then I have a section that says what to do if your child has been bullied. I'd like to share maybe 3 of those tips.
Okay.
1, don't panic. Don't panic. At least you know that the child has been bullied and there's time to act and react. But we want you to take immediate action, because that child needs you to right now move on this situation of being bullied. And then a third one, you want to demonstrate love in your actions and your deeds. The last thing the child needs is for you to be angry with them or fuss at them or yell at them when they're telling you they've been bullied. You need to find out what happened, when, who was involved, and you need to report it right away to the principal if the child hasn't already reported it, or to the teacher. I'm assuming it happened at school. It's not always at school. But you want to get that information resolved and right away.
Sometimes it is the teacher.
Sometimes it is the teacher. It is. Yes.
There was
I could tell you some stories.
There was a report on the news that this teacher came into the classroom on a regular basis and would curse at the kids, yell at the kids, and all of this. So one of the students had a cell phone camera, etc.
Yes.
And videotaped it.
Oh.
Took it home, to the parents to say what was going on. Parent called the school for a meeting, went to the school, and prior to showing it, she explained what had happened.
Yes.
And the response from the principal was, well, the teacher just having a bad day.
Oh, my.
So the video was shown, and the principal was, I had to give a different response now. Well, we're looking into it.
Yes.
So the kid goes to school the next day, and the teacher points out, well, you all aren't going to, have whatever because of her.
Isn't that too bad? Isn't that just not the way to resolve it? And that's what our children endure sometimes. It's not every day, but it does happen. Yes, yes.
Well, this has really gone fast, but I would like you to give the contact information for you, and is there a physical location where people can go and purchase the books?
I am local, and so I always say to those who want to purchase a book directly from me, since I don't have a store, but I'm at the Charles Wright Museum a lot lately, especially this month. I'll be there Friday at the Twisted Storytellers event. I'll have a vendor table there. I believe that starts at 6 o'clock this Friday, the 16th of February. And I'm doing some local things. I'll be at the Black Expo, Black Family Book Expo at Northwest Activity Center. That's on the 24th of February. But also, if you have my information, my email, and you contact me, if you want the book this week or can't make it to one of those events, I will personally autograph a copy for you. I can meet you at the library, your favorite library, or the workplace, and drop it off to you. That's if you're going to get at least 2 books. Make it worth my little gas trip over there. But thank you for that question. Again, our website is Leap for Joy, www.leep, the number 4joy.com. And you can also email me at Patrice, Patrice, capital A, capital Lee, at gmail.com. Thank you.
Okay. And unfortunately, we are at the end of the program, and I'd like to say to all of you who've tuned in, thank you so much. And I didn't say good morning to Rosa and Vera and Ron and Barbara, but anyway, I want to say it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We at Hood Research seek out as much information as we can to share with you to help us all make better informed decisions.
If you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you're finished.
And we want you to tune in again next week.
And now stay tuned for Get in the Know with Marley B.